Hi, Luigi. So, how are you? How have you been after your session? How's life?
I have been amazing. I don't know how to explain or to tell you after our session how wonderful I felt. It has been a life changing for me in few aspects of the whole thing. It was really wonderful. I'm very grateful.
Wonderful. What changes have you seen after your session? What have you noticed?
Well, one of the most important ones, which has been one of my burdens for a long time, many years, I've been having this allergies condition where the medical society had no idea what to do. And we went through all the tests you can think of, taking off from my diet. Because the reason I was having that condition is allergies. It was sneezing every time I was eating. It
Mm.
will be something. So I thought that, well, it's got to be something in the food, some condiment, something. But it was sneezing 20, 30 times, where by the end that I end the sneezing thing episode, I could not continue eating. That my stomach was totally upside down. But long story short, we went through many tests. I went through the whole thing, and they couldn't find anything. So I was carrying that. That was one of my main questions, my main things that I needed to find out. How can something, so it's got to be something out there that had to help me. And it was when I went through this hypnosis with you, and it was a life changing, because actually that's one of the reasons that I wanted to find out. And I have not sneezed once since I had your session, Sabbath. I feel so happy and so grateful that I found you. And I was so drawn to you from the first time when I saw your website and everything. And I had to drive over an hour to go see you, but you know what? Well worth it, because I've been here in Florida. I was starting again with all this sneezing thing, and I said, "Okay, I got to do this somehow." So it was a life changing for me. I have not sneezed once in my eating since I saw you.
That's beautiful. And how many years were you dealing with that again?
Over probably over 20 years.
Where, yeah, because I couldn't remember. I felt like you said about 15, 20
Yeah,
years. Yeah.
about 20 years. It's been a long time, and it's really horrible. And you have really, nobody can imagine the amount of effort and when you sneeze. Some people sneeze 3 times, some people sneeze once or maybe 4 times, and that's it. Hardly you see people are here, or as I notice people sneezing more than 3 times, but mine were 20 plus times. And right in the middle of eating. It's not that after, well, no, sometimes I had it after, but it would mess up my digestive system completely. I would not feel good. It's like my stomach was upside down. I wanted to puke. It was, name it. I could not go through it. And when it was in the middle of my eating, I had to stop, and I have to push my stand up and you go blow my nose and forget about it.
Yeah.
And until next time. And it was pretty much almost every night, every night. I
Yeah.
would do, the funny part is like I would do, there is a technique where you pinch your nose right in the tip here. And I won a couple of times. I did it so hard because I was like in a restaurant, or I was invited to dinner to friends of mine or somebody, some banquet or something. And I said, oh, no, no. So I said, I cannot attract it. Everything's going to be fine. But there it goes. In my sneezing again. So I would squeeze my tip of my nose so hard that it would become blue. It would turn red and then blue from trying to stop it. So yes, it has been a blessing, this session.
Mm.
Whatever happened in there, it really worked. And we can talk more about it.
Sure, whatever you're comfortable sharing with. So, how do you think you got there? First of all, how did you get to that point where you connected with your higher self to connect to your wholeness?
Well, this going into the session, that I remember parts of what I remember, asking my higher self, my subconscious mind, to to evoke for me, to try to help me out and to ask why this, or can you help him? Like, it's one of the things, can you help him? Or after hearing the recording that you sent me, you gave me, it was when I realized, so she asked for that and I got an answer. And it was like, it's done. We're working on it, or something like that. It was like through my voice, or actually it wasn't my voice. It was, I felt my voice had a little bit of a change.
Mhm.
I got a little bit deeper, but I could hear some parts of it. And after, when I heard the recording back, I said, "Oh wow, I think I can get this part." But that wasn't actually me talking. It was something, because I felt like I was on the side listening. It became like a dream, and where I couldn't remember anything until I heard the recording again. And then I went, oh, I can tap into this part. And now I can hear that voice. And that voice it sounds a little different than I don't know. What do you think? We haven't
Yeah.
really talked about it.
We really haven't talked about it. The tonality sometimes can change. So your tonality did shift a little bit. And it's not always the case, but sometimes it is. It's not an indicator of your higher self or not with tonality changes or deepening or completely different voice. But
Right.
yours happened to have a little bit of a little bit, not so
Yeah.
major, but
No, no,
definitely.
exactly. I know it was my voice, but it was a little deeper, more calmer, more wiser, I think. I don't know. I definitely wasn't me.
Amazing. So now you tap in. Do you remember on the information on the questions that you were given? Were you given some reasons as to why you were experiencing the sneezing or why you had gone through that?
Yes, in one of my regression past lives, which I don't remember, I did remember after I heard the recording, was that I was, and actually you asked the question why that happened, right? I remember you asking that after I listened the recording again, and but the reason was that I was in enclosed, or some cave, and the cave had, it was a lot of dust in
Mhm.
there that I recall after listening back, and have some remnants of images of that time, where I don't know where I was. I can't remember if we went through all that time. I don't think so. But I was enclosed, and that was the reason that I carry that, because I died actually from that. I
Mhm.
carried on to this time. And that makes so much sense, because right after that, when you everything was left behind, were supposed to stay and not carried back to this new me, in my present time, it was when the healing happened. It just appeared, and that's the beauty of the whole thing. Yes.
Right. Was I remember you were describing being in a very dusty place that was just
Yes. That I
very,
couldn't.
you couldn't breathe. And somehow, again, you were experiencing something from that
Yeah.
time. And so once your conscious mind realized, well, there's no need for that. And we go through a series of questions around that as well to really find out a little bit deeper. And so that's part of the process as well when you book a session for hypnosis with a QHHT practitioner, is really diving. We go through that whole process.
Yeah.
And once a higher self says it's done, do
Yeah.
circle back around to make sure. But it was really amazing. A
Yeah.
very high energy in the room, The session felt really tense, right?
Oh my gosh,
And
very
some of these
intense.
sessions can be, and that's part of the reason I want to cover that too. But before we get into the intensity of the session, are there any things that come to mind as far as any aha moments or anything else you want to share with our listeners?
Aha moments. There were quite a few aha moments, and I can tell you, there were quite a few. But yeah, one of the, the moments where I felt the electricity going through my body when you asked the subconscious or my higher self me to do a scan. I felt that I was being plugged into an electricity thing. My whole body started vibrating, and it carried it on right after the end when you brought me back. My hands were tingling with thousands of needles in fire, the heat that they were I was feeling it was throwing out. Even I remember telling you, if you don't touch me, you may get electrocuted or something like that. That was the first thing that came out of my mouth because I was on fire, on electricity, and my feet too. So what I felt in that moment was a wave of electricity going through or scanning, because that's what I felt like. It was like a scanning of energy going through my whole body. And for some reason, what I can think of, it makes sense to me, is that the extremity parts of our body, or my body, which is the hands and the feet, that's where it left or was leaving or was trying to project out.
Mm.
And that part was amazing. It was really I, overwhelming in a good way because I felt like was being electrocuted in the good in the good sense, but cleansing. The cleansing that I felt right at that moment was amazing. I don't know how to where else to explain it, but that was the very the most important aha moment that I had. Besides other ones when I came out of the cloud that went down and it started exploding where I was. That you asked, well, where are you? And I was in the jungle,
Mhm.
and that was my first regression, my first past life that I experienced. And I was naked. I was an indigenous being with a just an arrow on my hand, and that was it. I was just maybe looking for food. I was hunting. I don't know what's happening. I can't really remember much about that. I don't know if you can expand a little bit because you were asking me the questions. But what I remember after I read that, what I heard that my recording was that I felt I was in this jungle looking for, I think, looking for to eat. And I had people, right? Was working for food, right? And then I had to, oh, I remember that I had to bring back food to the camp to
Yeah.
where my other peers were, and my the community that I was part of. And I think I had a family, but I don't recall any specific person or that was part of my family. It was like we all family. That's what I felt. We
Mhm.
were all community family, and I had to bring food for them.
You felt like a sense of responsibility towards the whole.
Yes, yes, yes. And I needed to. That was the very first one. It made sense afterwards, after I heard it, and I said, "Oh, now I'm putting two and two together." And then the other one, because I do remember being in that part of my life back then. I don't know how it transitioned to the other one, but that was actually the beginning of my journey as a soul. I think so. That I went like to me, I felt like I really went to the beginning of my, maybe, I don't know, first time on earth. Who knows? That inner being can recall because you come back with no memory. So that was the most important one, the one according to what was going to transcend or to become later on. And
Mhm.
then my other part was where I was a defender of the people that had no freedom. I was like, quote unquote, some type of, I don't remember the word that I said to you, a representative, right? I
Yeah.
was a representative for a big, not a big corporation, because it was back in time where people had wigs on, white wigs, right? And I remember that I was part of it, and the wig that I had, it was smelly. That was smelly. It smelled horrible. And I mentioned that because I remember after I said, "Oh my God, that's true." I felt like I had this. I had to wear it. We all had to wear it. So going back to that time, being the indigenous person, I think that area had to be either when the Spaniards came into colonization in the Americas. That's what I put those two and two together, which is so amazing, and it makes so much sense to who I am right now, because it really came into the fact that I understood why I am the way I am. I am a defender of people, but I can't see an injustice. I fought for injustice. I think in every I think we had three, right, regressions, three, and every one the other two were specifically a person that defended freedom, justice, and that was is I'm carrying it that with me. It is part of my life journey within my whole being. I don't know if I'm making sense,
Mhm.
because I think from whatever I need to go from here, I will continue my same the same thing. Now after that, next thing that happened, well, many things happen in between. I don't know, how much I can expand into this because I can talk forever.
No,
you
it's
know.
fine. You're doing great. This is wonderful. This is what it's
Okay.
about. So you're doing wonderful.
Well, I do remember that you brought me into the time where it was important. And I saw myself defending people because they needed to be free, or they were not free. And I don't know if it was anywhere here by the time where there was slavery here. And I think that has to be, have the feeling, I can't pinpoint directly, no, it's 18 whatever it was, before that, or who knows, but I think it has to be on this area, North America. And why I say this is because when I was a kid, I remember telling my mom, which was something wrong to do, say to my mother, because she was so like, "Oh my God, no, you didn't say that." That mom, nation made a mistake to bringing me to this country. I'm from Venezuela. And I said, I don't feel that I'm from here. Oh, what are you talking about? Rejecting your father, your mother, me, your siblings. And I said, no, mom, it's just because I feel I'm attracted to North America. I would do when I was little. I remember doing pictures on the wall, United States, the no, movement. I was so drawn to that. Well, what I'm trying to say is that my soul actually was bringing me back to where I was supposed to be. Whatever reason is right now, I'm here. Is all the reason that I can a little bit, but I'm trying to explain so people can understand that when we look into whomever has the code, why born here in this, or why was I born in this family, or why? They are questions. Those questions can be answered
Mhm.
through this thing, therapy, because that's what happened. I'm just by my experience
Mhm.
and who I was since I was a kid, and what happened and where I went. I was like a lawyer defending people, and that's what I see. Of course, I didn't become a lawyer, but I can't see injustice going on around because I don't even know who it is, or nobody. If nobody is, I don't know the person. But if it's somebody that is being badly treated or injustice happening, I am the first one to jump in and defend that person. So
Mhm.
it's within me. It's me in my
Mhm.
energy. So the other part is that you brought me back to my last day of my life in time, which happened to be I was like in a castle.
Mm.
and we were waiting for a queen. And the queen, I think, I don't know, but I think it was maybe Isabel, or something, that I was brought back there, because I think that I was brought back to America to do the job that I was supposed to do, whatever that was, to defend people. So when I went back, I had my family around my bed. I was on my deathbed, actually. And I remember exactly by images. I do remember some things after I heard the recording. It's so important to listen to that recording.
And it's important to talk a lot, not just for the practitioner to be able to ask deeper questions, but also because you're going to be listening to this afterwards. And
Right.
there's information there. Like you said, you made some more connections later.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
the
Yeah.
session keeps giving because the person you are a minute ago and the person you are 5 minutes later, you're always changing. You're always got
True.
different perspectives. And what happens in these sessions is you get so much information in such a short time. So as you listen to it, things hit different or sit different with you, where you're
Yeah.
like, oh my God, that totally makes sense. Like I had a session from 3 years ago that 3 years later, I was like, oh, wow. Okay. I
Yeah.
totally
Get it.
stand that now.
Yeah.
So, and I needed that time to wait. So, very beautiful
Yeah.
how the answers in perfect timing come out.
Yeah.
And like you said, looking at who you are today, you can see some of those similarities that you
Oh,
had in other
absolutely.
lives. So in this life, you don't get so hung up on something. You're like, okay, this is who I am. And let me be a little bit more at peace with it, not be
Right.
so upset with it or triggered or, responsive. Can see this is a fabric of who I am. This is how I come in, if
Yeah.
you will, if you feel it serves you. But in these sessions, if something doesn't feel correct and you think there's something that you want to balance out, you can go in and ask questions. Just
Yeah.
ask questions, right?
Yeah. 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 Well, the questions that I had, I mean, I had like, I don't know, 12 or something.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think about 12. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I think we got them pretty much answered. Our standby that I remember by the answer of my subconscious, my higher being. It's like everything is like it's right timing or something. And then I heard that. I said, okay, well, okay, so they do that. Oh, another thing that I just pop up my head is that they on it. And that to me was like, wait a minute. So, okay, they are working. Who are they working? I mean, I was just in my subconscious mind, I mean, on self, but actually, the higher self is your higher self, but there are more, are, putting of help at the same time. But it depends on what I am. You correct if I'm wrong, but they it needs to be done at the right time when you are supposed to obtain that healing or that answer. It's
Mm.
like the answer right away. I mean, in my case, I mean, probably there are cases where they give the answer right away, but depending on maybe the level of consciousness I'm at the moment, that I am not ready to receive the answer that I am looking for. But what they say is like, it's coming. It will be at the moment. And it's true, because after you listen to that recording, or I listened to that recording, I went back, oh, okay, that makes sense. I can, well, no problem. If it's, I can then, and I know why. It's because I may be ready for that. I need to learn something from that,
Mhm.
because everything is learning experience here. And what happens, but it's a process. So it hasn't stopped. one of the other aha moments, because I continue to the aha moment. I love the aha moments
Yeah.
because I being in my dream. I
Mhm.
had a dream, but it actually wasn't a dream because right after that session, Saba, with you, something triggered inside of my psyche or inside of myself where from not remembering dreams because they were hard, as soon as I woke up, the dreams would be like, they would disappear. I
Mhm.
would go to the bathroom and I got to hold it. And it would just go and I wouldn't remember. And that hasn't happened. It actually the opposite. I remember details. I remember things where I go like, oh my God, wow, it's wonderful. Actually, I had one last night where I did not mention it to Gino or anybody, and I remember it. I mean, details happen again. I mean, before that's a good thing. But what I was going to say about the I had by a Blu-ray beam, and going back in home uh, in Delaware, I saw this, you know, light lights, you're floating around me, and I had somebody, my godson I invited to spend some time with me after he graduated from high school. I said, no, I pay you everything. You come and spend 3 months with me, and you're going to learn a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
So he comes down from the second floor to the kitchen and the outside area. The outside is actually inside because everything is like included, doors, so everything is wonderful. And these little lights came in and they were floating, and I was just like, going like this. And he says, "Oh, come on, what's going on? Are you okay, Padrino? Are you okay?" And I said, "Can you see them?" I said, "See what? I mean, are you all right?" He probably thought I was, going. People already think that I'm crazy. But I can open my mouth and say stuff like that. You know how that goes. And all of a sudden, he said, "No, I don't see anything." I said, "But they are here. They're floating." Okay, I didn't know anything about the blue beans. And
Mhm.
then I started, hearing across videos or in YouTube that said the blue beans. I said, "Oh, blue beans. Wait a minute, what are these?" The orbs. They call it the blue orbs,
Right.
right? And I said, okay, this is what happened to me. It was when I said, I was visited by blue orbs and I was just going like this. Oh my God, what a mistake. But it's okay. I mean, it's a mistake because you are actually, you don't know. So you are in this realm of, ignorance per se, which is can be until you find out, and they go like, no wonder. So after that, I was by this Blu-ray beam, and it had no face. And it was that I remember by the recording that I don't know, like you ask, who are they, or something like that. You ask, remember, or
Yeah.
yeah. So they don't have faces. I said
Mhm.
they don't have faces, but they are, and that I remember it was blue. It was a blue, tint. Okay, and they were not just one. There were like tons of them.
Mhm.
So those were they that I can recall now, and I put it two and two together. Said, okay, so that's the league that is protecting me because I feel that actually they are protecting me. All right, so that happened. Next morning, I woke up and
Mhm.
I looked at my phone. I had this video out of the blues just pop up, and it was blue. Are you a Blu-ray beam? We're like, what?
Can't make
So
this up.
I know you can't make this up. I mean, it was amazing. So I went like, okay, immediately click. I listened to that. Oh my God. Every single thing that they describe, if you are a blue bean, that was me. It was like reading myself. And that the Blu-ray beams were supposed to came to help the to bad energies because that's their main thing, transmute the bad energies, and all of what was happening after the Second World War. That was the first wave that came in. I'm
Mhm.
saying all this because I learned it. I'm in the study, and after that day,
After
I
your
said
session.
I had to find out more,
Mhm.
and they started coming up, more and more, and then I
So you
look
were
at.
having dreams about them after your session? Is that what you? You so after your session, you had a dream with one?
Yes, that was, yes.
Wow. Yeah.
And then I woke up, I saw that. It was like that blue bean put that thing, okay, you need to know more about
Were
this.
you having conversation with the blue being in your dream? Or was
Actually,
it
because it was, if the conversation was telepathically, it
okay.
was like a knowing thing.
Mhm.
And it was like very familiar. It was like I was part of it and I was with it and I was it or them.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That
yeah, it's amazing. That was a great thing. Saw that video, and since that day, I have not stopped learning about the Blu-ray beams because it's me, actually. It's me. I know that's another part. I know why or the way I am because if you see the characteristics of the Blu-ray beams, that is me. So to me, that was like, oh my God, thank you. Now I know why, my friends have told me, why do you have to, care for this? It's not your business. It is my business. I have, I have this, you see, or transmute, actually it's about, I mean, we can days
yeah.
and I can tell a lot of things, but it's been
Yeah. No, it sounds so beautiful. And I'm not surprised, that's why these sessions is that you find so much out about yourself.
oh,
And
absolutely, yes.
then you're like, oh, that's why. Oh, I get it now,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
that's why I'm so passionate about protecting people, or I
yeah,
have this underlying thing where I just really feel like I really want to help,
yeah, yeah.
Um, and say there's experiences in this lifetime that lead us to those moments, but sometimes it's not very clear, is it? And, it
No,
helps back a little bit further than this life, right?
yeah,
So the other
yeah.
thing that I found very fascinating about your session is how intense it was. You got up from your session, and we definitely took it very slow. Um,
We
you,
had,
yeah, well, and it was very tense emotions. But then I said, take your time, and you took quite a good to sit up and just
yeah.
sit, and really get up. How was that when you first got up from your session?
Well, right when you brought me back and I told you all about my hands and my feet and my body was really heavy in a way that it was energy that I was like sank into the cushion, the bed. I was like part of it actually. That's what I felt. I was not feeling my body. That intensity, that was, I think that was right after the scanning of my scanning, because that's what I remember, and that I felt right when I came back. So then when I sat down, you told me to, sit up and, well, I went through this moment of, like, I don't know if I was crying or I just burst into like, it was something, feelings that I needed to like express out, get it in my chest. Then
Mhm.
I sat down. I could not feel my legs. My legs were like numb. It's not all my body, but still my hands were really tingling and very electrical. I kept saying electrical. I feel electrical. I remember saying that.
I
I
thought,
feel.
okay, I won't. I won't. That's fine. You're like, I'm gonna electrocute you.
What happened when you took the thing? I think you got shocked or
I got.
something.
I took your. I tried not to touch your hands. I mean, your ears was pulling the headphones off,
You
and I got
did.
zapped. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna be careful.
I know. I remember that
It did
part.
give me a warning.
And that's when I say, don't touch me because you're going to get electrocuted. That was amazing. Kind of funny, actually, if I go back to it.
Yeah.
But that was really awesome part. When I got up, you had to hold me because,
Yeah, you said, well, you sat up for a while and you said, I'm totally fine. I said, well, take it really
right,
slow.
right, right,
Um, take your, I was sitting right at the
right,
foot of the bed where you were getting up,
right.
and you stood up, and that's it. Knees buckled, and you're like, I'm gonna fall. Like you just
Yes, right. Yeah.
really,
It didn't me in that moment, I would have fallen because I remember I feel like a baby. I had need how to walk because I didn't know how to do the step thing. It was really incredible. I mean, that moment was like, I don't know. I can't even. It happened exactly. What I felt was that I couldn't walk because I didn't know how. That
Mhm.
was what happened. And then when I tried to step forward, put a step forward, it was when I lost the control because my legs were not strong enough for something to hold me. And that was when you grabbed me. So, I mean, I'm sure it happened to everybody. I have it happen. No, right?
Oh, I've had some really, yeah, where it's really intense. I mean, these sessions very high energy
Mm,
for sure.
yeah.
Different for everyone, not normal. Where you get up, you're like, I can't remember to walk. But it was almost like you were lightheaded or something as well, where I just kind of looked at the skin coloring kind of
Right. You
went
mentioned
pale.
that.
And I
Yeah.
was like, whoa, okay. So I thought, okay, hang on, we need a sound. Let me,
It found me.
help ground a little bit before try to get up. And then after a while, you had brought snacks and I had some snacks and you just
Right.
had some snacks.
Right.
You
Yeah.
got grounded after a little bit and then you got up and you
Yeah.
were fine. So it was
Yeah.
very interesting
Was
afterwards. And you looked at me, you said, this is serious. Like you
yeah, I knew that. This is serious. Did I say a bad word then? I don't know.
I don't remember, but you said, Saba, these sessions are serious. You can't take them lightly, right? And I'm like,
Um,
no, you
God,
can't. They're serious.
yes, they are serious. No, I'm telling you, anybody that would love to have this done or is curious about it or whatever reason may be, I would highly recommend it
Mm,
because what you get out of this is a life changing. It has been really wonderful. Like I said, I mean, not everything out of those questions were answered, but I knew the answer because I am not ready for it. Like, for example, family thing. I don't feed in I never felt that I fed in this. I was part of that family. I mean, it's kind of to say it, especially like this gonna be listening to me, but that's the truth. I've been saying this for a long time since I was a kid. I don't belong here, and
mhm,
that's one of the traits of the Blu-ray beings. When I heard that, I said, "Oh my God!" Like all of Blu-ray that came in are actually were going through the same thing. And I've been hearing so many people talking about it. So that to me was epic
mhm,
because to know that why I don't feel that to me was one of my first questions. I think, why do I feel that I belong to this family? Why? I don't feel that I'm part of it. So
mhm,
that's why I had to run as soon as I could. Did 3 times. I 2 times away from home, trying to get out of my family. I can't stand them. No, it's all they're all crazy. But you know what? And I knew why I got into that family because the reason was that I had to transmute timelines of I don't know how to say it. I mean, it was sort of you know, transmuting all that
and
lineage.
from the lineage, yeah.
Yes, from the lineage, and I think I saved the family. They don't know it yet. I hope they find out sometime, and they will call me. Hey, thanks a lot. When they get awakened. But I was one of the most important things that happened in that session. That I
Mhm.
came out from that session my family thing. And they were all important, all the that I went through them, and especially health, and some parts were okay, but they were the one on the coccyx. Too long
How
because it doesn't hurt. I can't sit for hours now. And
Mhm.
I don't feel it. I don't put my chicken and then all of a sudden the other one, every time it would access. And that came from, I won't go into that story, but that came from a very bad situation when I was a kid.
Mhm.
and abuse. Way though, not that anybody can think of, but it was foot.
Yeah. Yeah, they were their abuse is bad, but yeah, it was a trauma, a physical trauma you
Was a trauma
as
that
a
was
kid.
carrying.
Yeah.
Yep, yeah. And
That
I know why I never I said I don't know. So to be honest, I went through test also when I had my whole process and and fine was was apparently fine. That was an energetic cluster that was there, put there by hatred, you see, because I was being hit quite a few times from a family member. So, that part is amazing because I'm sorry, when they were that part, I don't remember, I don't know if you can recall, but I don't remember exactly what they say, they or my higher being was going to fix it,
Mhm.
but it was fixed
Yeah. They
because
said the same. It's done. We're taking care of it.
right? Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. We'll take care of it. I remember. We'll take care of it, and they did. It happened because I can sit for a long time, and I didn't really like maybe 2, 3 after the session
Yeah.
where I was in the computer doing things and sitting down for a long time, even by watching, TV. I don't except for programs YouTube, watch them on my TV.
Like this
Uh,
channel.
in my channel. But anyway, definitely I felt it. I said, "Oh my God!" And I have spoken about that because it's remarkable. It
That's
is
amazing.
actually, it's wonderful. It's really happy.
You took out time in your day to share your experience and really just let others know what what's possible to do when they do a session, how they can connect with their higher self
Yeah.
and hit state and really just ask those questions and figure out why they're experiencing what they're experiencing
Yeah.
and ask no one else, no one outside other than yourself. And that's why I love these sessions so much because they're so empowering, you know?
They are. I would to anybody.
Yeah.
QHHT, please. Find a practitioner. Saba is amazing. Saba, I have, it was to be on your care, under there. It was wonderful. I
Thank
felt very at ease, very trusting. I was for first time,
you.
and have to open up, especially me, to try to do things which I've never do with anybody. And I always shut my mouth and I say, oh, I'll deal with it later, or I'll deal with it however I find to deal with it. And many people are the same way. So it's very have that connection, and I was so blessed to have you as my practitioner and under your care, because it hard for me. You
Oh,
really
thank you. You're so sweet, Luigi. Thank you so
yeah,
much. That's the sweetest
yeah,
ever.
yeah.
So
Actually, you're my sister,
I'm your
my soul
sister.
sister, my
Yes,
soul sister.
sure, I'm your soul sister for sure. Because
Okay.
really, your session was so beautiful, your energy was so beautiful, and the biggest thing is to trust and let go and just really be open to whatever
Yeah.
information comes through. Before we conclude our interview today, I wanted to just basically, for those listening, how did you connect to your higher self? How did you go through that process? In other words, if we could sum it up in one or two words that are very important for you to connect to your higher self, what would those words be for you?
Hmm. In 2 words, that is kind of
Okay,
impossible to
20.
do.
I don't care how many.
That's kind of hard, especially me. I talk for.
You take your time.
Well, to recommend something connect with the higher self. Well, one of the most important things that I always do to reconnect or connect to my inner being when I do my meditations is to be aware of your breathing.
Mm,
The breathing is so important,
mm,
and you know the monkey mind tries always to step in and you know, try to get you away from your purpose because it doesn't want you to. That's a conscious mind. So, but go back to breathing because when you are in a session, or my experience, I had to remember that very clearly and keep my breathing and on check, and just utilize your part of the brain that has the pictures, and utilize those pictures. What when I was being through you guided to see the pictures, which for me it was easy because I do visualization and I do, I can put up a movie in my head easily. So a video, it's just to listen to voice it's been guiding you,
Mm.
and immediately connect to your breathing and be aware of the pictures that are on your right brain. That's the part that you have to be aware of. And in that moment, when that happens, that's when I felt that that took control. Was where you actually enter into your, or let your inner being, or the state of theta, to step in, and then you go into the, this somnambulistic state where you actually let go and totally surrender.
Let go and surrender.
Let go and surrender.
Surrender. Because people who have meditated 20, 30 years can actually fumble a little bit connecting in because the let go and surrender is not part of their makeup. And
No, yeah,
they know the higher self, or they have a complete expectation
right,
of connecting with this knowingness when they do in meditation, so they're kind of expecting it extremely similar
yeah,
when they go into this kind of session. And so really just letting go of any preconceived ideas of what that should really be, and letting go and surrender are
yeah,
such powerful words when it comes to this kind of work.
true.
Really, any
Yeah,
work, no matter what modality, because you can kind of hypnosis, and I've tried different other forms of hypnosis. I always step aside what I know my connection is to my higher self when I do these kind of sessions, and I just let that unique energy, whatever's supposed to come out, and I surrender and just say, okay, I'm not gonna, try to hear or push it in a certain direction or try to control it, because then it's not going to happen. I'm not going to make the connection because now
sure.
I'm in my head.
Yeah,
So letting go and surrender are such important words when it comes to these sessions in QHHT.
yeah. Well, I got the words at the end. That's good. That's good.
And meditation, of course, if you're a meditator, for sure. I mean, of course, it helps because that means you
Yeah,
can really learn to get your mind to step into that
sure.
flow as well. But I've had so many clients that have never meditated a day
True.
in their life, completely left brain their entire life, have no idea how they ended up in my office, and are like, I'm just going to give it a shot. And they connect in, no problem.
Yeah,
Um, Very easy and simple process. Where the hang up can happen is control and not letting go.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's true because especially their career, whatever job they are, going through. So,
Where, yeah, but where the hang up is the control.
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's simply control, because
Yeah.
we all have imagination. We
True.
all can tap in and we can all get there. It's
Oh, yeah.
where if somebody wants to control, like I said, they can meditate, they can be highly connected, highly spiritual, etc. But if the
Right.
surrender and the control factor and kind of policing what you're saying, and kind of going, am I making this up? Am I not? And getting into that
Right.
can happen with an left brain dominant, right brain, or as an artist, a non-artist, or an analytical non. It can happen. It's just learning to let go and surrender.
Yeah. Well, that's when when I said at the beginning of your question, is to, for those people probably, they are analytical,
Yeah.
more left brainers, is to, put their mind, which controlled their breathing, being conscious about their breathing. That is the key for me that I can think of, because when that monkey mind of mine comes up and it starts playing, it can actually, I can be very analytical too. I do both. I have my left brain, always active and going. And I've been going through that too, where I said, okay, you are going to step aside and I'm going to breathe and I'm going to do this. And that's when the magic happens. That's the other of what I can say and suggest, and it can work for people like that.
Breath is really important. It centers you to the moment, and I agree because you were breathing. I saw that. You were definitely taking those breaths and that helped.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I
Yeah.
had to. I
Mhm.
had to. I had to. And I can also say, you as a practitioner, your voice, your energy, your whole, you as a whole, it helped so much.
Thank
It
you.
really helped. I was like, okay, I'm in good hands here. So I have to surrender and let go.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining today on All About Energy.
It's
I
my pleasure.
appreciate your beautiful words, and really sharing your experience so that others can see what is possible. Also, guys, guess what? He is working on becoming a practitioner too. So he will be opening shop very soon. He's also a
Yes.
sound healer. Seeding consciousness is his website. I'll actually have his website on the bottom of our interview so that if you want to book a sound healing journey with him, he is located in Miami. And thank you so much for listening, guys. I appreciate it.